down, it's kind of like sitting in a U-shaped configuration, and you would hand out scores of games, like if there was a Laker game or.
Let's see. Close enough. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll call the meeting to order. Do you have the roll call, June?
Yes.
All right, we'll stand for the invocation by Pastor John Simpson here. Oh, yes. Okay, and then we'll have the pledge by Madeline Seymour.
Check. Father God, you who set creation in order and made humanity to steward things well, bless this meeting and our town leaders this evening. Thank you for them and for the desire and willingness to serve others. Thank you also for those in our community. Would you provide guidance, wisdom, and insight to consider matters and decisions? Would you enable all here to listen and to speak well? And would there be a unity and peace toward the aim of good overall and increased beauty throughout this community? Amen.
Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Harv says even though he doesn't have his volunteer, he's going to speak a few minutes about the GBA.
I'm back on. Yes. Madam Mayor, councilors, do apologize. Our volunteer of the month had other places to be tonight, so couldn't join us, but we'll be back next month. In fact, we probably have a couple of volunteers of the month to share with you. Just wanted to share, because we've been getting an awful lot of comments about the Greater Bandon Association. We have, as many of you have probably heard, we have run into some financial issues, so we are back to being an all-volunteer organization, kind of like we were the first 7 years out of our 13. But on the other hand, we've got some folks, when we talk about volunteers stepping forward, it's kind of the old gang from our board of directors are coming back to join us. Peter Braun is back on our board. Dana Nichols is joining us next month. Troy Russell is coming back. Dave Heisel. So all the folks that kind of made Greater Bandon what it is are returning. We'll continue to do all the activities we have in the past, the community gathering activities like our Alive After 5, the Nog Walks and things that we do in the Christmas holidays. Those will all continue. Our Volunteer of the Month program, that'll continue strong as well. I mean, I remember when we first got that program off the ground, quite honestly, it was almost a function and really the first year that Councillor Seymour was on CCI. You'll remember the conversation that we had that we need to recognize the volunteers in our community. How many years ago was that? And I remember Matt Winkle was, yes, and Matt Winkle was our city manager at the time. He says, Harvey, we won't, when's this program going to end? We don't have that many volunteers in our town, do we? And yet here we are 14 years later, because this town is built on volunteers. It's folks like we have in our council. It's as far as our local government, our planning commission, our Parks and Recreation Commission. If you look at the nonprofits that deliver services in our community, the youth center, the food programs, all basically surviving and relying on volunteers. And it goes on and on and on. Youth, how many coaches do we have that are helping develop our young folks? We'll have plenty of volunteers that we'll continue to recognize. Next month we'll have a couple, because I know we've got one that would have been here tonight, and I know Steve Friedland's on the line. He's given us a good nominee that we'll probably be recognizing, if not next month, the month after. And to that extent, if anybody has a volunteer that they'd like to see recognized, all it takes is a email to hello@greaterabandon.org. Quick paragraph as to or two as to what the person has contributed and why, and what we do basically. Like I said, next month we'll probably be recognizing two. Once you nominate a person, if the person doesn't get an award that first month that they're nominated, they stay on our list. There's some folks that may take 2 or 3 months to get there, but we usually do. We want to continue to do that. We're also, in terms of volunteers, and Tom Orsi on our board's taking a big role in this. We're basically looking to create and incorporate the Abandoned Cares Volunteer Match Program. Basically, there's a lot of folks in this community that would like to volunteer. A lot of retired folks that come and kind of say, I got time on my hands now. I got a bunch of expertise. We're basically going to be putting that volunteer match program, people who are looking for volunteers, people who are new to the community who do want to volunteer. That'll be part of our website as well. So we'll have that on the next month or two as well. For volunteers, again, that's a heart of our community in so many different ways, and we'll continue to do what we can to recognize what they provide to the community.
Thanks, Harv.
Are you still going to have an office in the Port Building?
No, actually, on that, at this point, that was part of our cost cutting. I mean, obviously, if we had the dollars, we'd love to be there. Because to be honest, that was a kind of a historic landmark. That's why we wound up being in that location in the first place. Right now, we're located, in fact, I think I ran into Jerry the other day. We've got an office above Breeze in in that building.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right,
bet.
thanks, Harv. All right, the next item is the consent calendar. Does anybody have anything they want to pull out to discuss?
Motion to approve?
Second. Been moved by Madeline, seconded by Jerry to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, the next item is the public hearing. I can find the script. Okay, let's see, find the script. Should have been better prepared here. All right, this item is a public hearing in the matter of ordinance number 1680, amendment to Bandon Municipal Code Section S 8-08-150, prohibited vegetation relative to the requirement for mandatory code compliance on the eradication of gorse. I now declare the public hearing open at 7:09. The council will take testimony, close the hearing, and deliberate. The city council may decide to recommend the proposed text change as written, recommend the proposed text change with amendments, determine that no recommendation can be made at this time, or continue the hearing to a date certain for additional testimony. A copy of the minutes of this hearing will be available in the city offices. A copy of the rules and procedures I am reading will be available in the city offices as part of this file. What does the staff have to report?
Good evening, Mayor, council members. As you recall, on February 2nd, at your regular meeting, you directed staff to amend BMC Section 808150, revising content as necessary to convey that compliance is mandatory instead of voluntary. Accordingly, staff prepared these ordinance revisions that are summarized briefly in the way of striking one sentence referring to voluntary compliance by landowners and in support of mandatory compliance. So adding the word mandatory and striking voluntary in section A of 808150 and in 808150F, again, eliminating a sentence referring to voluntary compliance and also adding clarifications that compliance will be mandatory. Before you, you have a recommendation from staff, therefore, to amend or to adopt ordinance number 1680, amending the municipal code to clarify that provisions ensuring compliance are mandatory instead of voluntary. That's all I have for you, unless you have questions.
Any member of the council have any questions? At this time, those of you who wish to testify on this matter, please sign in and testimony will be taken in the order people have signed in. June? No one signed in?
Up for Gorse.
Okay. Well, then I don't have to say the hearing is orderly and and courteous if no one signed in. There's no one up there either? Okay. Then I will close the public hearing and take a motion and a second to close the public testimony portion.
Motion to close.
Been moved by Madeline, seconded by Archie to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Now we're going to, do any counselors have deliberative comments that are confined to how the project may or may not meet the approval criteria? Anybody have any comments on it?
Josh?
Josh?
Actually, I just wanted to make one comment that in support of this is that it read a little funny, but it's always been mandatory. And this, all we were doing here was clarifying that it is mandatory and it always has been. But the language was just a little funny. That's the only reason we did this, as I understand it. So my only comment.
Anybody else have any comments?
Showing motion to move to. No, does Shayla's got to read it now.
Do we read first or make the motion first? We read,
It's me to read it first.
all right. Well, is here. Yes, would you please?
Says City Abandon Ordinance number 1680, an ordinance amending chapter 808 of the Bandon Municipal Code addressing vegetation and removing exemptions for gorse and other prohibited vegetation.
Do I hear a motion?
Yeah, motion to, I just lost the language. Okay. I make a
Pass.
motion to move to the second reading.
Second. Been moved by Madeline, seconded by Jerry, that we move ordinance 1680 to second reading, and we'll have a voice vote.
Counselor Slothauer,
Yes.
Counselor Prusato, Counselor Seymour,
Yes.
Counselor President Adamson,
Aye.
Counselor Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Powell. Thank you.
Now we'll have it read by title again, please.
The City Abandon Ordinance number 1680, an ordinance amending chapter 808 of the Bandon Municipal Code addressing vegetation and removing exemptions for gorse and other prohibited vegetation.
Now do we have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt ordinance number 1680, amending Bandon Municipal Code section to clarify provisions ensuring mandatory compliance.
Second.
Bear. Been moved by Madeline, seconded by Bear, and we'll have a voice vote, please.
Aye.
Counselor Prusato,
Aye.
Counselor Seymour,
Yes.
Counselor President Adamson,
Aye.
Counselor Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Powell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Let the record show that ordinance 1680 has been adopted.
Driving.
Josh can keep driving. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the Seabird Drive Traffic Calming Study Near-Term Implementation Plan. I guess that's Jeff or
Him.
Madam Mayor, we do have two public comments on this item for Seabird when you're ready for that.
All right, thank you.
Yes, Madam Mayor, members of City Council, this evening, we are presenting to you for consideration the findings and information that was derived as a result of the Seabird Drive Traffic Calming Study. This was prepared in response to resident concerns about vehicle speeds and pedestrian safety. Next slide, please. This exhibit identifies the existing conditions on Seabird Drive. On the right side of this exhibit, you have Highway 101 and the entrance to Seabird. At the left side of this exhibit, we have the intersection of Beach Loop and Seabird. Within this segment, the traffic speeds are 30 miles an hour, and you have two segments of existing pedestrian sidewalks. One is adjacent to the Seabird Village development, and to the west, you have additional sidewalks located on the south side of Seabird. Next slide. In looking at the concerns that were raised at a community meeting that was held in August of last year, the concerns about excessive speeding within the street segment, concerns about pedestrian safety, conflicts between pedestrian and vehicle circulation, as well as bikes, led to the team developing near-term impacts. And the objective of these impacts or near-term improvements were intended to be cost-effective measures that we could implement relatively soon. Next slide. In this exhibit, it's a detail of what's being proposed at this time. In the highlighted section closest to Highway 101, we are proposing the installation of a speed feedback sign. This will be installed and is digitally altered in an effort to identify the rate of speed that people are traveling down Seabird. In the other highlighted section of this exhibit, we have a proposed crosswalk. And on the left side of the slide, there are three options to consider. Within the pedestrian crosswalk area, it can either be at grade painted, which we would call a marked crosswalk, a modular speed table, which would be a prefabricated rubberized speed table that could be altered and adjusted as needed. Oftentimes this could be installed for test case purposes to determine, how that's effective in controlling vehicle speed and protecting pedestrian access at that location. And then ultimately the permanent speed table, which would be fully asphalted and constructed, very comparable to the crosswalk that you find in and around City Park. In addition, the improvements would require some significant ADA compliance, including some modifications to the existing sidewalk area and ADA access ramps. Next slide. This is a photograph identifying the general location of where we propose the speed feedback sign to be located. This is an existing speed feedback sign within ODOT's right-of-way. This is located south of the former Italian restaurant use. Next slide. This is the photograph of the existing conditions located at Salty Dog in Seabird, where they're proposing a pedestrian crosswalk. It would be on the westerly portion of this intersection. As you can see, the existing ADA access ramp would have to be reconfigured to accommodate a crosswalk that would lead towards the adjacent residential use across the street. And on that corner, there does not exist an ADA access ramp. So those would be the improvements at that location. And again, we're asking for council input on whether or not it would be an at-grade marked crosswalk, a modular configuration, or an asphalt permanently raised pedestrian table. Next slide. This exhibit, this detail shows the westerly improvements closest to Beach Loop. In the highlighted section there, we are proposing an additional speed feedback sign that would be for vehicles traveling eastbound. In addition, there's also a proposal for an additional crosswalk that's at Lincoln and Seabird. And the same three options are available: at grade, modular, or a permanent speed table. In addition, this would require some additional reconfiguration of the existing sidewalks and ADA access ramps. Next slide. This is the intersection, and it shows the location where the proposed crosswalk would be located. If you look across the street adjacent to that home, the sidewalk just terminates at Seabird. So in an effort to accommodate a pedestrian crossing at this location, the sidewalk would have to wrap around the corner, and there would have to be some improvements in the form of a new ADA access ramp. In addition, this existing ramp would have to be reconfigured to accommodate the crosswalk landing. Next slide. This is a photograph looking eastbound on Seabird, and this would be the general location where we would install the second speed feedback sign. Next slide. There were also some more permanent long-term improvements that were entertained, and this would be predicated on the availability of future funding. This includes the construction of a 6-foot chip seal pathway along the north side of Seabird, providing additional connectivity with the existing sidewalk to the east, and that of the existing sidewalk on the south side of the street to the west. In addition, this would provide for a 10-foot landscape buffer area. Next slide. This is the existing sidewalk configuration adjacent to the Seabird Village development. Next slide. And this is the terminus of that sidewalk leading westbound towards Beach Loop. And the permanent proposal or improvements would be the extension of this pedestrian sidewalk in an effort to, again, enhance pedestrian safety. With the improvements, you may also see an additional bike lane. With that said, it's all predicated on the availability of funding, and these improvements would run in the millions. So with it, that concludes my presentation. I have Tim Lakey, the Public Works Director, who worked with me on this project, alongside Parametrics, the traffic engineering firm. Thank you.
Kimmy, I'm gonna ask you a question. I was in Coos Bay. Huh? It's right here. I was in Coos Bay, and I think it's Park Avenue. It's a couple of streets above 101, going past the Ford dealership up in the back.
Okay.
They have the blinking signs like we do, but they're red and green. I mean, if you're like 1 mile over the speed limit, it flashes at you red. And then if you're in the speed limit, it's green. Have we looked into those?
So yes, we have discussed that.
Really get your attention.
Correct, it does. I had the same situation up in Depot Bay coming southbound, and it lit up red and blue.
Right.
And it is an attention getter. So this is what Mr. Contreras just spoke about. The basic concept of the direction we're going. The speed feedback signs are options. You can add that kind of stuff too if you so desire.
Can we look into that for our 2 101s?
So that is ODOT jurisdiction. So we'd,
Of course.
yeah.
That could take 2 years to get that,
Yeah.
maybe 5.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So now apparently 2 people have signed up to speak on this issue. Then we can hear from them now.
Neil, you want to go first?
Come on, Neil.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Neil.
Hello. My name's Neil Barlow. I'm a resident of Bandon. I would like to support any traffic calming on Seabird. However, I'd like, if possible, to use Seabird as an example and a prototype for traffic calming for other parts of the city. Any high impact roads like 11th Street or Beach Loop. So anything that they do on Seabird can be used as an experiment for that. And just don't think of Seabird. But I support the project.
Thank you. Hi.
Mayor, Council. First, I want to say thank you very, very much for the time that you have all spent on the measures going into Seabird. It's the only growth area in the city, big time. I've got a significant investment there. 80 units going in. We sit in our living room and watch people try to cross Seabird, older people like me, trying to cross Seabird for safety. There's just no good way to get down there, and we have to both consider residents, visitors for the not only safety but livability. And again, I just thank you all for taking the time. I think it's a significant investment, and I think it's a not only of money but of time from staff. So again, I appreciate it. To go along with my comments on Seabird, one of the things that I do personally, I clean up Seabird about twice a month. I walk up and down with a 55-gallon trash can liner and clean up trash. And my history was I was law enforcement and fire in LA. Most of the fires that I followed up on were lit by transients with warming fires. This city has an incredible fire history. Our police department is spectacular. I call them occasionally. I do it sparingly. My son's a cop in LA, and I don't want to waste their time. I don't want to waste city's time. But I call on occasion when someone looks like they're going to be there for a while and doing warming fires. That being said, sorry, long reach from Seabird, but we need to do some, my opinion is we need to do something about the transients with trash and living in warming fires, because that is going to torch. And I'm not saying it like maybe, it is going to torch. I incarcerated many people based on warming fires that burned down Sunset Hills in LA and other places. It's a real problem, and it's going to happen. Our police department's spectacular. They respond right away. They're very professional and their hands are tied. So relative to Seabird and all the work that we're doing to improve our city, to bring it forward, to make it livable for our citizens and even more attractive to our visitors, I think we might want to consider some type of a system that we can monitor trash, number one, living, number two, and warming fires also. So again, I appreciate all your time, and I welcome all the traffic calming measures. I think it's spectacular. Thank you.
Mike.
Okay, now does the council, everybody have an opinion? It's a good report.
Very
Went to a lot of work.
So just to be clear, are we voting at the end that we want to move forward in general, or are we voting on one of the three individual?
Yes, it'd be staff's recommendation that we get some direction as to what type of crosswalk the council would prefer, and then also seek direction from the council to include this as a budget line item in the fiscal year 2026-27 budget.
Okay.
Okay, I have an opinion, believe it or not. Number one, I think we should use the modular ones. I don't think we're ready for
I agree.
permanent ones that if they aren't working,
We need to test it.
then we can throw them out.
Exactly.
For
Right.
that. The other thing I read in here is they're talking about putting the walkway and reducing the width of the road to basically 19 feet, 9.5-foot lanes either way. If any of you have ever driven on Ohio, that road is 19 feet wide.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, a 9.5-foot lane is not enough. If there's a pickup, two pickups coming, one of them pulls over and stops. And if you're in something like Seabird, it'll calm it, but it also causes a lot of accidents because people get very nervous about getting that close. We definitely do not want 9.5-foot lanes.
I don't know why we would need a 10-foot garden
Yeah.
if you would lay the asphalt sidewalk, then why would we need 10 feet?
We don't.
I mean,
Right. To be clear, we looked at a variety of different options that the engineering firm presented. And in internal discussions amongst myself, Public Works, and, staff, we determined that wasn't a viable solution. It wasn't one of
Okay,
the
good.
recommended.
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
It didn't say that.
Yeah, all we're proposing is what's before you today in the form of near-term improvements.
So with the modular, would that be something we got to keep afterwards? Because I do like what Neil said about using this as, something to move forward with other projects.
Oh,
Right.
good idea.
So the
Out of that.
phased improvement approach, you could go out there and identify the crosswalks with paint as a marked crosswalk. The second alternative would be the modular speed tables. Once we purchase them, they would belong to the city. And we could probably use those at other locations. If we elected to install permanent speed tables like you have at City Park. And of course, the more costly approach would be the permanent speed tables without having a chance to really assess, its impacts on vehicle traffic and speeds.
I think that the modular speed table
Yeah.
is much more effective than
Yeah.
just a painted crosswalk means nothing. If you don't have a light and you don't have any impediment, they aren't going to slow down.
And people ignore them.
Well, what if we have this flashing speed signs?
Well, they don't help on 101, do they?
Yeah.
No, actually, I think they do. I see it every time when I drive and I come into town, I drive right by one every day. And not only do I remind myself, oh, I gotta slow down if I'm going too fast. Unlikely, but it could happen. But
But of course, Seabird, the 30-mile-an-hour sign is what greets you. It's not that you're not that far away from a 30-mile speed sign. And if you need a flashing light to remind you that you're at 30 miles an hour, then you shouldn't be driving.
But the thing is, it's not just me. I notice other people slowing down, coming down that hill into town.
Yeah, that does help
It,
here
it,
because you
it
haven't.
helps a lot.
But on Seabird is what we're talking about. The 30-mile-an-hour sign is right there as you pull off the road. So they
Right.
shouldn't have forgotten to be speeding.
Is there a chance the double speed bump though is a nuisance for the people who have to drive over it every day?
Talking
Not if they're driving 30 miles an hour,
Yeah, or
It's
Not if they're
emergency
driving
vehicles?
30 miles an hour.
because they're designed for that.
I
And
would
it's a
hate to see-
table. It's an actual table where I researched them last night. And they're much more friendly to emergency vehicles than
Yeah.
the regular speed bump.
It's not a boom, boom.
No,
Right.
Kind of like the ones at the park.
And we would need
Yeah.
to slow them down.
Why
The sidewalks across.
Yeah. That's,
Well,
would be
I
my,
think option number 2 is the best bet.
Hey, Tori, how much is the balance of our capital fund?
252.
what?
Go ahead.
It's 252,000 is what we're asking to slate towards this project.
And with
Right, but how
regard
much
to
how much is in the capital fund that it would come out of?
But we're,
Yeah, there's over 2 million in the fund right now.
Oh, thanks, Tim.
So we could make ourselves out of gold.
Well, that's to maintain the entire city though.
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah, let's not
So we need to be conservative.
And money.
down the golden goose.
I'm kidding.
Well,
Me and Donald Trump, we like gold.
Go ahead.
I think option 2 is what we've all talking about right here. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
counselors?
but does this include both the flashing lights and the modular sidewalk walks?
I think it does.
Yes, it does.
Be both.
We indicated that the proposed budget line item would be up to that amount. So that would include the permanent asphalt speed tables if we went that route.
Do we want them to do both though, or do we want to
Mhm.
just do the sidewalk, the crosswalks for now?
I think we should just do the temporary to see how it works.
And no
We
no
just want to
flashing
move
light?
The sidewalk or the sidewalk, not the sidewalk.
Yeah, this
but the
temporary speed
crosswalk.
table.
Yeah,
That's what we want.
Yeah.
right.
With no flashing light?
Oh, no, flashing lights
So we
too.
want the flashing light.
Yeah,
too.
that's a
Yeah.
must.
We're asking
Clear.
to do all three.
Yeah,
Whatever crossing with the illumination for pedestrian safety and the 2-speed feedback signs.
right.
Okay.
It's just what the council would recommend for the crosswalks is the 3 choices.
So what are we doing?
So
Are
the
we
only
just-
decision we're making is what kind of a crosswalk we want, right? Whether we want
Correct.
Correct.
And then to,
heated or temporary or permanent. And I think most of us want temporary
Yeah.
correct. And then with that, the direction to include this in next year's.
in the
fiscal
budget. Yes.
I move to approve.
Okay.
Second,
Been moved by Josh, seconded by Madeline to approve what we
Option
just
number
talked
2.
about. I hope that you have that down.
option number 2. Yeah.
the modular.
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you. And thank you for this good report, whoever did this and whoever made this possible. It's
Yeah, very
a
nice.
very good report. All right. now,
What do you get contract?
okay. Next item is the award of the contract for audio-visual improvements at the Bandon Community Center, also known as the Barn. Christine, our librarian, will be presenting this.
Right. Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council. The city was recently awarded a grant through the Bandon Dunes Charitable Foundation to support an audiovisual equipment improvement project at the barn. And the goals of the project are to provide enhanced audiovisual technology and infrastructure for meetings, presentations, and events. 2 bids were received from the 3 solicited. Good Vibrations Audiovisual provided a proposal in the amount of $43,972.15, which includes AV equipment, materials, and installation. The electrical work portion is provided by Copeland Electric Company with a proposal of $8,436.19. The total project cost is estimated at $52,408.34. Good Vibrations with Copeland Electric are deemed best aligned with project needs and available grant funding. Funding sources for the project includes a $50,000 grant from the Bandon Dunes Charitable Foundation, with the remaining balance to be paid utilizing TOT funds. City staff recommends that the council award the contract to Good Vibrations Audiovisual, Copeland Electric, and approve the total project cost of $52,408.34 allocated from grant and TOT funding.
Let me ask a question. Under our recommendations on number 4, it says, approve required change orders that are deemed necessary. Did this contractor, kind of implement to you that they're going to need some change orders, that they couldn't see everything that they have to dig into when they're in the barn, like in the ceilings and stuff?
I don't think so. I think that this was what they
It's a
believe it
solid-
will be. It might actually be a little bit less because we might make some changes with the microphones.
Okay.
But if anything, I think it's going to probably be a little bit less.
Right. It allows us some flexibility. In the last meeting we had with the contractor, he indicated he would recommend, in lieu of a drop-down screen, the installation of a flat screen TV at a certain location. And what it allows is for us to make those decisions rather than sticking exactly with the original bid that was proposed. So that decision ultimately saved us money, and we applied that towards the acquisition of additional microphones.
Okay.
Okay.
In reading this, did the electric company give you any idea? I mean, it makes, when I read things that say excludes any surface mounted fixtures, any sheetrock replacement, any sheetrock patch and repair, all possible power cut, patch, paint, roof penetrate, those types of things, when they say this isn't included in the bid, did they give you any idea how many holes they're gonna punch in the walls? And
Right.
how much it's gonna cost us to fix those things, since they won't do it?
Yeah, there are going to be actually 2 locations where there's going to be a part to patch. As far as cost wise, I think Tim, maybe you can help me with that.
Oh, Tim's gonna do it?
He's got a great crew.
So with what Christine has is the actual proposal for the AV equipment and installation. We are in the process of getting a drywall contractor that is going to have to come in independent and fix this, and we want to do it simultaneously so we can do turnaround ASAP.
And do you have any idea the cost of that?
I'm not venturing it to be too expensive because what the repairs are going to be not significant. It's due to the angles of the ceiling out there is where the difficulties come in with the installation. So, just getting this lined up is going to be key. So I would imagine no more than a couple grand, hopefully, in drywall.
Okay,
but-
that's about what I had in mind. Excuse me, that's about what I was thinking. I do have some experience there.
Okay.
Oh, no, I won't do it. I've done it before.
Ready for a
I
motion?
think so.
Motion to award contract for audiovisual improvements at the Bannon Community Center to Good Vibrations Audio. And do you want me to do the motion including Copland? Yes?
Yes. Yes.
And Copland Electrical Company for a total amount of $52,408.34.
Second. Who seconded it?
I did.
Jerry?
Jerry. Madeline made motion, Jerry seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Did you vote, Chris?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Now, the next item on the agenda is the Bandon Chamber of Commerce, 26-27 budget and operations and promotion plan.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the city council. Agenda item 5.3 is a request for the city council to approve the chamber's proposed fiscal year 2026-27 budget and operations and promotion plan. In accordance with the agreement that was entered into between the city and the chamber last year, they're required to submit this information for council review and approval. According to the chamber's proposed budget for next fiscal year, the total amount of $231,525 is being requested. This reflects a 2.9% increase pursuant to CPI from last year's allocation of $225,000. So with that, the proposed budget before you represents an increase of $6,525 pursuant to CPI. In addition, we do have the attached operations and promotions plan for review and approval. And with that, we do have 3 representatives from the chamber. Should you have any questions about their budget or the proposed plan for next year. And that includes my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I've got a question. What is our total for TOT, our income from TOT?
I was about to ask the same thing.
I can.
Isn't it roughly 1.5 or?
So the general fund portion or the TOT portion?
All of the TOT.
Just
About 1.8
Okay.
per year.
And 60% of that or 70% of that has to go to tourism, right? The rest goes into the general fund.
January 1.
And
Well-
under what?
But it's not the,
That's not quite. So our original 6%, which was in place before 2003, 80% goes to general fund and 20% to tourism. There was a 3.5% enhancement. 70% of that goes to TOT and 30% to the general fund. So the blended rate, I believe, is 61.58% that goes to the general fund and the rest goes to the TOT fund.
Okay, thank you, Paul. That answers my
and
question.
starting in January, if
Yep.
we increase the TOT, then it's 50-50.
Yeah, I think that's going to apply to everything after 2003. So
Oh,
that,
really?
Oh, really?
I mean, that's what we're looking at.
Retroactive to,
So it will increase at 61.58 to around 67 or 68%.
good.
So little increase.
Good.
Never
Thank you,
did have-
Paula. Okay.
Anybody have any questions of the chamber?
So 61% goes to the general fund right now? I'm sorry, I kind of lost it.
Yeah, so it's a blended rate because 6% is at 80% and 3.5% is 30%.
To the general fund. Okay.
Correct.
So we're talking about 60% to the general fund. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions?
No. Do I have to make a motion for this? Or is this just a? Yeah. I do?
Yeah.
Okay. Motion to approve.
Authorize the
And-
city manager.
Oh, I just authorize him. Okay.
To-
Motion to authorize the city manager or designate to include a line item in the city's 2026-27 budget in the amount of $231,525 in TOT funding for the Bandon Chamber of Commerce.
I'll second that. Moved by Madeline, seconded by Jerry, that we include the line item for $231,525 in TOT funding for the chamber. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, the next item is Resolution 2606, authorization to accept Clean Water State Revolving Fund refinancing for wastewater facilities planning. I guess this is Tim's going to explain, Tim and
Tim and Paula,
Paula,
I believe.
Tim and Paula. Okay,
Okay. So thank you, Madam Mayor, councilors. The Clean Water State Revolving Fund loans money to communities at below market rates. A portion of the program funding is forgivable, so that means as you spend the money, you get reimbursed. The city submitted an application for a $100,000 forgivable loan to complete the wastewater system master plan. The last time the master plan was updated was June of 2002. To help qualify for the funding, the project has been combined with I&I work that's currently underway. It's currently in the 25-26 budget, $100,000. So that makes the total project cost $200,000. At this point, the funding is not guaranteed. We have to wait for the state to publish their intended use plan, and that plan's going to outline which projects it will include. But this item will be to allow the city manager to enter into and accept the funding if it is approved. And that intended use plan will be issued later this month.
And when are they scheduled to make a decision?
This month,
This month?
yeah.
okay, so the project, you won't be doing the plan unless we have the money. Unless we get the other 100,000.
We're gonna have to figure out some way to do the plan. This would be a nice way to do the plan, so we'll look at other options if this doesn't come through.
But 100,000 is already in the budget.
Yes.
Okay, motion to approve resolution 2606.
Second.
Thank you. Moved by Madeline, seconded by Bear. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, the next item on the agenda is public comments. So those people who have signed up can speak for 3 minutes. Do we have some people signed up?
Bob Webb, Robert Webb, sorry.
No. Good. The police officer should be in here when we're talking about this. So we would like you to stay in.
What do you mean? Bob Webb, I own the Continuum Center with my son. We for about a year and a half, we've had a homeless problem, which we've dealt with. In the past month, it's become, I've had to call the police 3 times. The one particular person has become belligerent when, if you ask her to move, she gets argumentative and then asks me if I'm going to call the cops. So now I purchased new benches for the front of the building, which are for the tourists. I'm going to remove 3 benches. And what's going to happen is I'm going to move the other benches inside. So out of 6 benches, there will be none on the sidewalk for people during the summer. And in regards to what this gentleman talked about, it seems it's all over town. I don't know what the answer is, but I know other communities deal with it and have found some solution. There's actually cities in Los Angeles that deal with it. Calabasas, Hidden Hills. There's numerous, there's all kinds of community. I don't know how they do it, but I have 9 tenants and one of them today called the police. Some are frightened and some just are annoyed because in today in particular, on the pedway, she spread all her paraphernalia, cards and tarot cards. And that was really right outside Foley's door. But he didn't come out, which surprised me. But how do we deal with it? I mean, there's, they've been there for a year and a half. And I've had customers, I've had friends that have bought them clothes. We fed them. And maybe that's backfired. But it's not going to get any better unless we do something about it. And I don't know what the answer is. That's why I'm here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Tori, can we put that on the next meeting agenda to look into options on, as a city, what we can do?
We'd be happy to. Large majority of the lifting would have to be done by the city attorney because this is really litigious area.
Yep.
There's a lot of case law involved, and so I would defer to Shayla if that provides her with a time frame to do the legal research on what's available to cities with regards to dealing with the homelessness. I know it's a significant issue not only here in Bandon but throughout the state of Oregon and California. Oftentimes, in an effort to relocate individuals from one area, cities are required to have a designated encampment location. And we have yet to get to that point here in Bandon where we are designating areas within the city to relocate homeless persons from private property in Old Town to an alternative location within the city's jurisdictional boundaries. But there's a lot of law involved here, so I'll defer to Shayla as to a timeline to report back to the council.
I'm happy to work with the chief of police and see if we can come up with some ideas and a summary of what the current situation is. The last time we did looked at that, though, Mr. Contreras is correct. You needed to have a designated place in town. If you were going to ask them to leave one section, you needed to have a designated place they could go.
But that was public property. I talked to the chief myself I think it was last week, and he's hoping to get signed statements from each of the private property owners down there, which would include the Landucci building, which has just been sold.
Yeah.
And if the private property owners sign something, then they can be trespassed from the private property.
Right, from private property, yes.
But that's where that's where the part of the problem is. They're basically living on the Landucci land
Yeah.
next to, and well, the one man is sleeping on the west side of the Landucci building. I personally asked him one day if he would at least move around to the other side, and he did temporarily, but the next day he was back there, and part of the time his clothes were halfway down to his knees, and it's an extremely unfortunate situation. And I'm sure that the new owner, because I know Christine Landucci she called me 5 times. I mean, she would really like to have had them moved. I don't know where they'd move to. And if they move to the public sidewalk, then we have that problem. But at least if they could be trespassed off of the private property, it might help.
Shayla, could you check with the city of Springfield? I was up there recently and I talked to a couple of business owners up there and a hotel manager, and they've outlawed homelessness in the city of Springfield. And I drove around and there's no homeless in the city of Springfield. Now you go over the bridge into Eugene, they're everywhere. So could you check with them and how they got away with that? Thank you.
Pretty sure Scottsdale did as well, Arizona.
Well, yeah, but that's not Oregon.
Yeah.
Going to have something to say.
I'm curious. I never see him in the port.
Oh, that's right. Never on the port property.
Josh, do you have something to say about that?
I think he's
He's
gone.
gone. No, he's still on.
Oh,
I mean, occasionally during the daytime, the older gentleman I've seen over the curb,
Right.
but I don't see, I
don't
mean,
see-
actually, there's more hiding places.
well, and how about the building, their little
The picnic shelter.
picnic shelter?
Yeah, no, they're never over there.
So Josh, can you answer that?
We lock the picnic shelter at night. We lock the public restrooms at night. And if they're congregating during the daytime, we don't do anything. But if there's encampments, we have shooed them away. And if it's become a repeated problem, we have had them trespassed.
Okay.
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 Yeah, because the port's private property, so they can't.
Thank you.
No, the port's public property.
Oh, it is?
Yes, it's owned by the taxpayers.
Okay.
We're a special district.
Well, I guess what happens is when they have an advocate like they did in Grants Pass, the homeless had an advocate and they took it all the way to the Supreme Court, I believe. And now Grants Pass has a homeless encampment, basically downtown Grants Pass. And I think there's either 125 or 150 tents there.
It's terrible.
So it's scary. It is a scary situation. But if we can just, I mean, right now, to help Old Town, if we could just deal with the 2 people that have caused constant problems down there, I think that would be a start. Does anybody else wish to address the council? O'Neill, come right up.
The other one was ad hoc. Hello, Madam Mayor and City Council. I'm back again. My name is Neil Barlow. I'm a resident of Bandon, but I'm also a business owner in Old Town. And I can just delete the first three paragraphs of my talk, which were about TLT, because TOT is dead. We now have the transient lodging tax. So I will cross those out. I would like to, and that was a follow on from that would be look at asking the city to look at investing more in Old Town. I'm not talking about the townscape, implementing the townscape project. I'm looking at small wins. The example I'd like to use is the fire hydrants, and a big thank you to the city for the work they've been doing on fire hydrants. And I'll hope they're going to keep painting additional fire hydrants this year throughout the city. They do look good. But you should have some pictures that I took of Bandon this week, or last week. So we're talking about small things like, weeding the streets, weeding the sidewalks, pressure washing the sidewalks, pressure washing the street. So we're not just talking street cleaning, sweeping, but actually just pressure washing them, getting some of that oil off there, and then also redoing some of the paint on the street markings and the sidewalks. Everything's looking a little bit, they could be spruced up a little bit. I said, not looking for anything major, no major construction. Although my wife wants to vote for having hanging baskets from the lamppost. That was her suggestions.
Wire them with water up there. That's why we're.
But yeah, I have to say that.
Actually, I know about those baskets, and somebody said, Beth looked into it because somebody said, why don't they have them in Coos Bay. You know why? Is because we are so close to the ocean, the salt air kills the plants in it.
I will pass that.
Mysterious.
I will.
Have water, because I looked into it.
No,
2 years ago.
even with water, apparently they tried one time, the salt air just kills the plants. We're so close to the ocean.
And the other thing I'd like to suggest is that there be some sort of forum for business and building owners from Old Town with the city, that they could suggest things that Old Town we think could help improve things for business in Old Town as well. Okay.
I will say that long before you came on the scene, I think about 1982, we got $1 million, $2 million HUD grant, and most of the money went to Old Town.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Old Town that you see today, and yes, it has a few grasses. What I wish the merchants that maybe some of this grass is out in front. It's kind of like the sidewalk in front of your house or the greenery in front of your house. If everybody would just do a little bit instead of always expecting the city to do it. But I will say that the Old Town you enjoyed today was nothing like it was for the HUD grant. It was sad. In fact, I'll bring some pictures sometime that'll make these pictures look like a brand new. I mean, it was terrible. It
Put
was
them in your newsletter because I look at it every Monday.
a terrible situation. So we have really accomplished a lot. But we appreciate your taking the picture.
All right.
Hopefully we can do something.
All right.
Maybe we'll have just a second. Maybe we'll have a summer crew. Do you think this year? Occasionally Public Works would have a couple of kids working in the summer, and maybe that would be the kind of thing that they could do.
I'd be happy to follow up with
Yeah,
Public
that would be
Works
good.
and Paula on that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Have you had your turn now?
But it just, I don't get here very often.
You're right.
The flowers, we've had flowers for 10 years. I sat on a committee for 2 years recently to get them back. We experimented with a basin that will water them for two additional days. It was the weekends that they had, but they lasted for 10 years. Everybody on the coast copied it. It was Liza, she had a truck and she watered them.
I think it was part of her contract.
It was money.
Contract any longer.
It was money.
But some of the merchants do have flowers out in front, and that's good. Anybody else want to address the council? Oh, Mike.
Sorry.
And give your name.
I asked
your name.
permission.
Give your name
I'm
this
just
time.
stepping up. Mike Malloy, 820 Seabird. Want to make something perfectly clear. Those of us that follow the law Don't defecate in public, urinate in public, and trash the public. Follow the rules and do everything we're supposed to do. When we have a problem, even being with my past experience, I call our police department because I'm not going to put me or my family in a bad position. That being said, we have called our police department, and our police department went out and noticed a particular gentleman, I won't mention his name. He had 72 hours to leave a public right-of-way on Seabird. He lives there constantly. He defecates in public in front of my grandchild. He urinates constantly in front of vehicles going by. I don't mean to be hysterical, but I'm trying to tell you that we follow the rules, and our police department goes out and follows the rules that they have to. And as has been echoed by numerous speakers here, that this city has the opportunity, or should make the opportunity, in my humble opinion, to direct staff to come up with a method to keep these people homeless, mentally incapable, some other way compromised, to follow the same rules we have to. Now, that being said, going back to my story, this particular gentleman was trespassed. His trash was taken as personal property and warehoused by this city at their expense, which I ran the homeless team in my city, and it cost us $185,000 a year the first year. Here, I don't know what it costs, but we warehouse this stuff and it gets thrown away after whatever it is, 90 days.
30 days.
30 days, cool. But we warehoused it. And guess where he is now?
Right back where he was.
On a daily basis. So again, it's fun to sit here and complain, but we have, because this is why my wife and I chose to live here, we have an opportunity potentially to maybe come up with some creative ways so that this does not become such an intransient problem that it is unsolvable later. I respectfully say this to you folks. My voice goes up because it bothers me. Anyways, I really believe that what your citizens are telling you is that maybe we ought to start considering some things that might solve this versus just deal with it for a month or two. Thank
I
you.
think then we need to ask the police chief to come to one of our meetings because, I mean, we're talking the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. We're talking about Oregon state law. Even after the feds loosened up on the regulations, the Oregon state legislature did not. And they're the ones that require us to hold the people's property for 30 days. They put more restrictions on us. So the city of Bannon, I mean, we don't, compared to cities like Eugene, Coos Bay, for example, John Toppet's Park. I mean, you're right, we don't want to look like that. But there is a huge bank of laws that prohibit what we can do, particularly when they're on private or on public property. So don't think I mean, I cringe every time I go into Old Town and see that.
Yep.
But so we will have some kind of a report for next month. Thank you. Anybody else wish to address the council? All right, now we'll have the city manager comments.
I have nothing to add other than in an effort to likely make a dent in being able to effectively deal with homelessness. It may require state legislation to do that. Local municipalities aren't equipped. We don't have the staffing, the expertise or resources to deal with the homeless related matters. Homelessness, as you know, transients are nomadic and they roam. It's not necessarily fair to hold the local municipality accountable for that.
Great.
This is a matter that really should be addressed by the county and if not the state of Oregon, but we do and we'll continue to do our best to apply the laws as they apply to us here in Bandon.
Thank you. Now, the council, unless Shayla, you didn't have anything. Here.
No, I have something I want to bring up, and I'm prejudiced in this because I'm part of it, but I would like to see Circles in the Sand get some TOT money. I don't know if you know, but Circles in the Sand has been on NBC Sports. They've been on CBS Sunday Morning. They've been in Sunset Magazine. They've been in Reader's Digest. They are listed in guidebooks in Japan and Germany. We've had German writers, travel writers here. We've had a group of Canadian travel writers down here going to for Circles in the Sand. And oh, by the way, there was 1 month last year, we had 40,000 hits on our website. And so I think that we're definitely tourist oriented. Plus, this year, I believe they're working on becoming a nonprofit, one of those things.
C3?
Well, I guess Denny Dykes is retiring.
Yeah, he's gone.
So
Who's gonna take over?
who's gonna take over?
Beth and James.
Okay. Yeah, because he's been the original, right? He was there the whole
Yes,
time.
he started.
Started it.
But he's pretty much backed off of it. He said that he's going to come down occasionally, but basically he's not going to be there all the time, and he expects Beth and James to run it.
He lives up north, right?
Yeah, he lives in Coos Bay now. But anyway, I'd like to be on the agenda next month, but talking about getting some TOT money, because we have expenses that are just our donations are not covering, and even things like printer paper and stuff that we do is coming out of the pockets of the people who don't get paid. So it's and I believe that if you were to ask anybody what attracts people here, first of all, it's the natural beauty. The beaches are great, but
One is Bandon Dunes.
number one is Bandon Dunes. And number two is actually Circles in the Sand now.
Could we possibly have them partner with the chamber?
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Say is we do have it in our.
Could you come up?
Yeah, come on up, Brandy.
We
Your
actually
name.
have it in our plans this year to push the advertising for Circles in the Sand.
Well,
Because that's what the TOT funds are for, is advertising.
Awesome.
Well, but what I'm saying is that when Denny was there, Denny was retired. He had all his stuff. We have two people now working who are working people. They can't take all the time to do that. Actually they need to be paid something. I'd like to get some money so that they can get some salary. I mean,
I can't talk on that, but I do know with the TOT funds, we are using it for the advertising to go towards
yeah,
pushing all the events.
Get your 501c3 status and then start getting donations.
Yeah, but-
I think even
Like
if
all
we,
the nonprofits do.
but
I
even if
guess-
we donated the TOT money, it wouldn't all be able to go to salary.
No,
oh, no,
none
no.
of it can.
No.
Yeah.
Well, then how
If
can,
any
how
of it.
can they pay salaries how can the council pay or
Well,
you
I think
guys,
it's a portion of.
how can you pay salaries out of your TOT money if you say it can't go to that?
Yeah.
Which is what we do.
Yeah.
We're actually running all.
But we do marketing too.
Okay, you guys, Ann, come on up.
You guys can have this discussion afterwards.
No, let's,
okay?
I just want to hear what Ann has to say
Okay.
because she's right. You're right, Ann.
Ann McCaleb, Chamber Treasurer. So the TOT funds are used for either marketing and promotion, visitor center, or like a community center, so like the barn. And the chamber, as the DMO, uses the funds only as they are applicable to whatever the person's doing. So when Nalia is working on the advertising or promotions, putting together all that stuff that we do, her time is allocated to that, and then portions of that are paid for that. Same with the visitor center. The visitor center is not 100% paid by TOT because it also serves our local people. So everything is allocated. If you look at the budget, there's percents in there next to the line items that say what that percent allocation is. But the majority of the TOT funds goes to the marketing and promotion, like, TV ads, billboards, stuff like that. So it doesn't go towards individual program type things. Is that?
You mean like fixing the audiovisual thing, the TOT won't pay
Well,
for that?
so that's TOT related because that's for the community center and that's an allowable
That's
expense.
facilities.
Yeah, it's.
I think you're drawing some fine lines here.
I don't think she's
I
the drawing
think
that.
so.
I think it's an interpretation of how it's written.
Yeah. And if you have, what's it, Orla, Oregon Restaurant and Lodging Association, if you start using the money for things that aren't, I mean, what you're asking, okay, but what you're asking for would come out of the general fund. And I don't know why
Not gonna
one,
happen.
we'd have to vote on that because I don't know why one group would come out of the general fund versus any other group.
But
You
it's-
just have to be like every other nonprofit in town. Once you get your status filed with the federal government, then you solicit donations, just like
Right.
every nonprofit in this town.
Let's just put it on the agenda and we can discuss it next month.
All right.
Josh doesn't want to talk anymore.
All right. Any other council comments? Jerry?
After that, no, I have.
Nothing.
I just want to say, get well soon to Deborah Kelly, who is the president of the VFW Auxiliary. She's done wonders up there. She's guided the auxiliary in a great direction. She volunteers at the VFW. She had a stroke. She's now home and she is doing better. And her big thing to me today is I'm bored to death. So, but she is on her way to recovery. I just want to wish her well.
Thursday, 5 PM, we have our Bandon Youth Baseball Opening Day Ceremony at the Bandon City Park. Come check it out. We'll have about 120 kids out there that'll be introduced out onto the field as long as the coaches as well. And we will have a prayer and an anthem and some celebrating baseball and the community.
Great.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but what Tori was saying about getting the county or the state to help out, I don't think the county or the state gives a rip what happens here.
Yep.
And I think this is something we need to take care of. I mean, it's a mess. I mean, I've heard people call the guy, Charles Manson's brother.
Yeah, that's what he acts like too.
At times he's great, other times stay out of his way. And that lady, she's cussed a blue streak one time, made me blush. And I was just minding my own business. I mean, it's something needs to be done.
Yeah.
And I think if we're gonna wait for the county or the state, we might as well just wait forever because it's never gonna happen.
You know, we intend to bring back a report highlighting what we have available to us in the form of tools that's in accordance with state law.
Yeah.
What I'm suggesting is that we probably also concurrently pursue state legislation to help us in that area so that we have more support and a legal basis for doing what we need to do to deal with the homelessness issues.
Exactly. And that's what he meant. I mean, I can understand perfectly well.
Yeah.
Yes.
That it's the state is the one that's handcuffing us in many.
And cover
Yes.
cities and the police departments.
All right, I think that we've heard from everybody and we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
I'm still here.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're still here. Okay.
Phone all this time.
All right. Speak.
I would just like to say that Tori put together a well-written presentation on the Seabird Drive. That's all.
It was a great report. All right.
Good night.
You're adjourned.